Welcome back to Thruxton. Well, the three-wheelers have made their way out onto the grid, and we're just about to get underway with the second F2 sidecar race from Thruxton this weekend. Let's go over then to our commentary team, James Whittam and Jack Bernicle.
These guys have already had a race here this morning at Thruxton, and the men on pole position, Simon Neary and Paul Napton, had the lead stolen from them by the reigning British champions Holden and Winkle. So it was John Holden and Andy Winkle who won this morning. They share the front row of the grid ahead of Roy Hanks and Dave Wells, and in fourth place Kershaw and Wilson. And then we've also got Brian and Sayers in fifth place on the grid, therefore on the third row with Kimberley and Bell. And on the fourth row of the grid, we've got Bennett and Perry alongside Elmer and Marshall. Oh, and there are more. Atkinson and Nampton alongside Atkinson and Dawson. And then on row 6, we've got Baker and Milligan alongside Eastle and Smithies. And the Pierces alongside the Sandersons. Baker and Killingsworth are on row 8 alongside Coombs and Wynne. But as I said earlier on, we had a race. The first race of the day was the F2 sidecars. Holden and Winkle beating Neary and Napton with Hanks and Wells on the Molyneux Rolls Suzuki, Hanks Racing Suzuki, in third place. So it was number 2, Neary, who made the start. Can he do it again and give Holden and Winkle something to think about?
Both away well.
Both get away well at front. Winkle, British champions, John Holden and Andy Winkle get away first ahead of Simon Neary and Paul Napton. And they really broke clear of the rest of the field this morning, James.
Yeah, actually Simon Neary and Paul Napton had the lead. They spun, they didn't fall out, they crouched. Oh, there's a big lock-up going into the complex. That's tyre lock-up there, that's a sidecar wheel, not so much weight on at certain points, and that locks up fairly quick. They got brake bias adjusters, which means you can adjust how much pressure goes to each pad, each set of pads, either the sidecar wheel, obviously mostly to the front wheel, but that was lock-up going into the complex. Look for Neary, the number 2 outfit. He's the one just in second there. He had the lead in the first race this morning, lost it by spinning just there. That's his marks, we're just passing. They stayed on board, they stayed low, the thing didn't tip up, got going, finished second.
And here they are in the lead once again. And in third place, I think, is number 3, Gary Bryan and Mark Sayers on the Bryan Racing Baker Honda. They are in fourth place for the Kimberley outfit that finished way down this morning. In fact, didn't finish this morning. They DNF'd this morning on the DK Racing Iverson Honda. So looking for a better result from them. But at the front already, the Holden, Winkle, Neary, Napton outfits are going for it.
There's Neary and Napton underneath Holden and Winkle.
So they move through to the front. Yeah, and they make it stick this time.
They were kind of making it stick this morning, but it was a one big mistake, and then they spun again at the chicane and still got it going and finished second.
Number 22, Dave Kimberley and Robert Feld on the DK Racing Iverson Honda have moved through into third place ahead of number 3, Gary Bryan and Mark Sayers. And at the front we've got the number 2 outfit, Simon Neary, an HGV driver from Leeds, driving something a little bit smaller this time as brakes lock up and rubber smoke explodes in the background. And here we have number 3, Gary Bryan, once again pinching back that place from number 22, Dave Kimberley.
Swapping paint as well there, John. Did you see that? He just rubbed straight across the front of him there. Yes, Simon Neary and Paul Napton, one of the younger crews actually. Simon Neary, 30 years old, like you said, from Leeds. Paul Napton, 31. And that's quite young in this class. You're able to race these things fairly competitively. Looking at this, well into your 60s.
And look at this battle going on, but looking at just beyond the first men here. And in fact, it's one of those men you're just talking about, Roy Hanks, number 4, 61-year-old from Birmingham, and a member of a famous sidecar family. In fact, Dad Fred died at the age of 90 in the winter. He'd been a great sidecar TT competitor.
Roy Hanks, I mean, you look at him walking through the paddock, he's gnarly, 61 though he may be. You wouldn't want to tell him that he's too old to race, I'll tell you. You get slotted, I think.
And here that was number 22, Kimberley, clobbering that high curve on the club chicane.
Yeah, and you look, on the left-handers, Jack, that obviously the sidecar wheel's on the left-hand side of the chair, which means on the right-handers it can go quicker. The left-handers, the chair tends, they can obviously go quicker on the right-handers, not the left. And that, the left-hand part of that chicane, they're sliding wide into that massive curve, and it is a tall curve. These things, very little suspension movement on these sidecars.
Now, Roy Hanks had his daughter in the chair last time, if you remember, but he's got Dave Wells, a mere 60-year-old painter from York, in the chair this time around on outfit number 4.
His young mate.
And here's number 22, Kimberley. He's only in his 50s, a 54-year-old landscaper from Leamington Spa. Robert Bell, the window fitter from Doncaster, in the chair with him. Experienced TT and British Championship competitors put their first full season together in outfit 22.
Yeah, and it is a big advantage if you spend some time with your driver. If you're a sidecar passenger, it's important to know exactly how the driver drives. These things have got so much side push, so much grip from those big car racing tyres, really, and they've got so much side push. If you let go of the handles at the wrong time, when there's a lot of centrifugal force, you're leaving the side exit, I tell you.
Oh, here's got Roy Hanks just barging through on the inside. Lovely move by the experienced Hanks.
You see how they just lift that sidecar wheel over the left-hand curve there? Again, that's lovely.
And Roy Hanks, whose big brother Norman was the 750 British sidecar champion back in the 1970s. Well, it's Roy pushing on in pursuit now of bike number 3, I beg your pardon, outfit number 3. More brake locking going on. Whoa, that was a great surge through by number 29.
Stephen Kershaw and Robin Wilson. Good move though. Keen.
Keen. I think you can safely say all these lads are that. Number 1, this is John Holden and Andy Winkle, leading number 2, Simon Neer and Paul Napton. I don't know when they got through, but they got through and they've cleared off. So Holden, the winner at Brands Hatch. Number 2, Simon Neary from Leeds. And then in 3rd place should be Gary Bryan from North Kelsey.
It is.
And his passenger.
Not for long, I don't think.
I don't think so. His passenger, a mechanic from Leeds, Mark Sayers. Half these lads are mechanics, because that's how they keep these things together.
Yeah, and I tell you what, this is just like old-fashioned racing. These lads all work on their own bikes. They're all men that use their hands. You know, they've all got welding equipment in the vans. They all can fix these things. And under the fairing, when you get the clothes off these things, lovely work of art.
Number 3 still hanging on there in 3rd place, Gary Bryan, but Hanks has decided that's his parking spot.
Yep,
and his overtaking spot. Look at that, beautiful,
like that.
lofts the wheel. So Roy Hanks of that immense sidecar racing family. He's now of course, with the passing of his dad, he's now the granddaddy of him, really. He's the old man of the whole thing. Well, no, actually, no, his big brother Norman is.
They call it the elder. He's one of the elders now, is he? Yeah, these are Formula 2 sidecars. There are a certain set of regulations. It calls for a 600cc road-going engine. You can do pretty much anything to them tuning-wise. So they basically end up with about 130 brake horsepower. Super.
Boys! Oh, wow! And that was an unlucky passenger being unseated when the outfit got clobbered just as he was moving across the side.
Exactly that, and that's what I said. You know, if you just let go at the wrong time, you're gonna leave. You know, because it's the centrifugal push that'll send you straight out. That's one blow up,
and we've got a blow up. That's number 25, Fanek, who seems to be gliding out in a cloud of smoke.
Yeah.
Number 25, Carl Fanek and Deepash Shawan in his
45, Dave
45.
Atkinson and Phil Napton. So it was Phil Napton who came out the back there. He looked to be all right to me. He says, the touch, watch the touch. And he's let go. He was just letting go to swap sides of the machine.
That's right.
And he didn't have both hands on the hands. And that's what I'm saying. You know, so much side push.
But you don't realise how fast
they have to let go and move across the sidecar in the middle of the chicanes, because that's when there's less. Well, you can actually work it so the sidecar does the work for you and throws you across. But
fortunately, that lad's only 26-year-old, so he's bounced youthfully across the grass. Tyre fitter from Selby, Phil Napton. He'll be doing some bruised tyre fitting tomorrow.
He'll be feeling a bit older going home tonight, I'll tell you.
And look at this. Oh, hats off to Simon Neary. He's closed the gap again on the reigning British champions, who'd finished second 3 years in the British Championship before they finally nailed it last year. They're under pressure now, John Holden and Andy Winkle.
He's pulled a second back of Simon Neary and Paul Napton on John Holden and Winkle, because they put a 1:22.87. That's the fastest lap of this race, and a full second quicker than the leading outfit.
And we've got number 25, stop, technical problem at Seagrave. Number 45, lost passenger at Seagrave. Passenger okay.
Well, ish.
Meanwhile, the battle at the front. And incidentally, can I tell the people who run the screens, that's not the way you spell Sir Henry Seagrave's name. And here we are, Neary coming from a long way back into the chicane. Boy,
gets it stopped.
It's wonderful the way they scrub speed off.
And that's the thing, Jack, you just said it, well spotted there, because they can scrub speed off a lot more than the solos ever can. They can actually send these things a little bit sideways, and that scrubs the speed off as they're going in there.
That's what made Club Sand Racing with their 1000 Moriwaki engined monsters such an amazingly exciting thing to see in sidecar racing.
Yeah, these
things
things
are number 2. Neary still just has the advantage over No Holden and Winkle.
These things can pretty much run their super sport engine spec, so they can tune these things. But it's more important, these things pulling about 180, 190 kilos of sidecar and outfit, and also a couple of 76 or 80 kilo passengers. So it's carrying more weight. They must make these things more torquey than a solo would be. That's not shifting so much weight.
Hanks and Wells are clear in 3rd place. Kershaw and Wilson now are 4th ahead of Bryan and Sayers.
Now what Simon Neary needs to do was not make the mistakes he did in the first race for sidecars this morning, because he did make a couple of mistakes late on in the race that cost him the win.
And John Holden leading the way at the moment on 75 points in this championship. Roy Hanks second on 52.
I spoke to Simon Neary last night, and he was really confident that he could win. He said he could win.
Well,
he's got the pace, and he said the bite's quick as well. Honda engine in that outfit of Simon Neary and Paul Napton. In fact, they've got good hospitality in the corner of the kind of workshop, awning. It's not separate, and really good sandwiches. And they had some proper 70s sweets. Space specials and midget gems. Lovely. Thanks, boys.
Oh, mate, I'm salivating. Stop it. Could do with some. This is number 4, Roy Hanks and Dave Wells. Combined age 121. And they're really...
Don't be like that.
They're lying second in the championship, 3rd in the race, super consistent.
You wouldn't say that to his face if you were in striking distance, I'll tell you.
And not only did his dad, Fred Hanks, die at 90 this winter, but my ultimate sidecar hero, the first man I saw racing sidecars at Croft when I was a boy, Fred Wallace, also passed away at the same age. Wonderful bloke. This is the battle for 6th place, and it's number 42 at the moment who's got that 6th place. Mars Bennett and Kevin Perry from Sutton Coldfield. And here we are, number 42. Hanging on there to 6th place.
Yellow flags are out there. I don't know what yellow flags are out. Yellow
Between 4 and 5
flags are out, and that's at this section. I can't see anything. I don't know what. Marshall definitely waving a flag there.
Oh, look at this. Number 22 pushed back now to 7th place. Number 22 outfit of Dave Kimberley and Robert Bell. And just behind them, they've got number 9 pursuing them hard. Lee Eastle and Shelley Smithies.
Sorry,
the number one bike's out. The championship leaders are out at Goodwood. That's Holden and Andy Winkle. Oh, Andy Winkle, the 46-year-old postman from Staffordshire. Well, he'll be back trudging round on his round tomorrow morning, thinking that didn't go right.
It says technical problem. That's anything from a wire breaking to a massive blow up, but certainly a mechanical problem putting John Holden and Andy Winkle.
Well, that means if Roy Hanks could finish 2nd in this race, which is the position he's now inherited, James, he'll move to within 3 points of Holden in the championship after 4 races. Because Neary and Napton lead the way, but they didn't score, remember, at Brands. They had a nightmare at Brands.
They did, yeah. They said it was a new bike, lots of things, little teething problems they had that put them out. And he doesn't need, I tell you what, he's so whiny, he doesn't need to push this hard. I'm wondering whether he doesn't actually know that John Holden and Andy Winkle are out of this race. He's pushing hard, is Simon Neary.
On the penultimate lap then, just 1 lap to go after this for Simon Neary from Leeds and his mechanic and his passenger, a mechanic from Selby, Paul Napton.
Yep, Paul.
This is number 2, the outfit number 2, 2nd last year in the championship. British F2 champion back in 2007. They've done it before, they want to do it again.
And I didn't want to tell you this, Jack, but I'm going to do it. He says, I was chatting with these boys, he says, look, if you want to go on it, you can drive it, get Jack in the sidecar, we'll sort you some leathers out, so we might be up for that later this year, yeah?
Oh, no, what? You with the help?
Yes. I'm a professional.
I think I'd rather have Simon take me round, to be honest.
I think I would. Rather let me loose with it.
So Simon Neary's crossed the line. Roy Hanks in 2nd place. Kershaw, number 29, in 3rd. That's Stephen Kershaw. a 23-year-old joiner from all the way down from Scotland. Stephen Kershaw, 23 years old, but you see he's got a 42-year-old passenger. There's always experience somewhere down the line, James. Actually, you could start a sidecar career at this point in your life.
I'd be dead young, wouldn't I?
You would, yeah. At the front then, Simon Neary looking really strong in the lead. The 2007 British F2 champion still rattling their way across the curves here. Roy Hanks in second place with Dave Wells. Third place for Kershaw and Wilson. So this is going to make quite a difference to the championship standings with the exit of championship leader John Holden.
Into the traffic now.
Into the traffic jam now, but they're on their final lap. It's not going to matter. They've just got to be careful as they cross the line now to win for the first time this year. Simon Neary and Paul Napton take victory at Thruxton. And the second man through should be the number 4 outfit of the 2004 British F2 champions, Roy Hanks and Dave Wells. Here they come, just lifting a coy wheel over the curve as they come through the final chicane to cross the line. Second and third place, good ride in third place, strong ride in third place by the number 29 outfit of Stephen Kershaw and Robin Wilson, all the way down for Scotland. Second in last year's F2 Cup, 11th overall. And charging across the line now, just grabbing fourth place, the number 3 outfit benefiting from a good start, Gary Bryan and Mark Sayers, just beating the number 42 outfit of Miles Bennett and Kevin Perry. And that means that Eastle and Smith finished in 6th place out of Kimberley, Atkinson, Baker and number 57. Now this interests me, Dave Wallace from Alfreton, Derbyshire, and Steve Wareham. I'm just wondering if that Wallace bears any relation to the wonderful Fred Wallace who passed away in the winter.
Well, Dave Wallace raced a solo for some time. I remember him racing in the early 80s on a TZ350.
Strange you should say that, because Freddie Wallace was a great solo rider as well. Once finished 7th in the Gold Cup at Scarborough.
Quite possibly related then.
It sounds nutty enough, doesn't it, for it to be in the genes. So there is the number 2 outfit of Simon Neary and Paul Napton from Leeds and Selby respectively. And there is the outfit of John Holden and Andy Winkle being removed, sadly having had a rare breakdown for them because they were super consistent on their way to the championship. Finally won after finishing second 3 times, and they've also been 3 times runners-up at the Sidecar TT on the Isle of Man. The number 2 outfit comes back into view. This is the team Dave Hudspeth Carpets, Nick Kroll Racing, LCR Honda. A nicely turned out outfit indeed. And they'll presumably be returning to driving a heavy goods vehicle and mechanicking tomorrow.
Nicely turned out machine and sweets in the hospitality.
I'm definitely, look, there's a bit of damage there. There's been a little bit of a coming together on that sidecar wheel fairing.
It's the law.
Well, there has to be
some coming together with sidecars.
Simon Neary, that was his 14th race win in British Formula 2 sidecar racing. The overall leader of the drivers is Ian Bell, wonderful Geordie man, 26 race wins. Gary Horsepole second on 25. And Simon Neary is in 6th place, now 14 race wins to his credit, and he's still only 30 years old, so a real youngster in sidecar terms. And the man twice his age there, number 4, Roy Hanks, with Dave Wells in the chair. Good ride by Roy Hanks, coming through to 2nd place, and 3rd place for the number 29 outfit of Stephen Kershaw and Robin Wilson, all the way down from a place called Lauder in Scotland in the Kershaw Racing LCR Suzuki. Neary and Napton then take a rather splendid victory after fighting hard for that one and overcoming the championship leaders. Hanks and Wells in 2nd place, Kershaw Wilson in 3rd. Bryan and Sayers take a 4th place just from Bennett and Perry, and Eastle and Smithies were right in that mix together with Kimberley and Bell, who slipped back from a strong start. Atkinson and Dawson finished in 8th place ahead of Baker and Milligan, with Wallace and Wareham in 10th. Sanderson's finished 11th ahead of Baker and Killingsworth. Rogers and Gasson 13th ahead of Mayers and Cook. Baggs and Lewis took the last championship position on their LCR Suzuki ahead of Elmer and Marshall. Saunders and Stone, Holden and Winkle were actually classified 18th. But 17 finishers then in the second of the F2 sidecar races here at Thruxton. off the line. It was a strong start by the championship leaders and defending champions John Holden and Andy Winkle from Preston on the Holden Racing LCR Suzuki. They looked strong at the front, but all the time Simon Neary and Paul Napton kept making moves like this into the club chicane. And behind them it was the number 4 outfit of Hanks. There he is, getting the better of number 22 outfit of Dave Kimberley and Robert Bell from Tyso on the DK Racing Ironson Honda. And they were to drop downfield to eventually finish in 7th place, as we see Hanks get the better of the number 3 outfit of Gary Bryan and Mark Sayers. They got nudged back eventually to 4th, because behind them the bright blue number 29 outfit of Stephen Kershaw and Robin Wilson was making a move, and a big crash taking out the unlucky Napton there, getting flung out of the sidecar, as number 2 Simon Neary once again takes over at the front. Right behind him, John Holden, Andy Winkle, and Neary had just begun to pull out a bit of a gap when the number 1 outfit ground to a halt at Goodwood, and it was Simon Neary who took a comfortable victory in outfit number 2 to put himself into a strong position in the championship.
And we are here with our Swan Combi F2 Sidecar Challenge winners, Simon Neary and Paul Napton. Guys, that was a great race. Simon, would it be fair to say that you had it fairly easy at the end?
Yeah, it would be fair to say we're easy at the end with John breaking down, but whenever John's in it, it's always an hard race. He's always going to give you a run for your money, so you know, you've always got to be on the ball. One mistake and he's there, so you've really got to try your hardest.
Not easy to keep your concentration around here at Thruxton, Paul, especially coming up the hill with a lack of braking markers and having to keep on top of all that. But talk about a turnaround from Brands Hatch for you guys.
Oh, it's just a completely different weekend. It's absolutely fantastic. For Simon and myself, it's been brilliant, but for all our sponsors as well, Nick Crow, Dave Hudspeth, Andy Farragher, Yokohama, it's, you know, can't thank them enough, and without their help we just wouldn't be here this weekend, and the bike is absolutely fantastic, brilliant.
Well, you just said before we came on air that the bike was getting better and better as the race was going on. What did you mean by that?
After the first race, we made a couple of changes with the tyres. We put a new Yokohama rear on and a new Yokohama sidecar tyre on. And to start with, they weren't quite working to the best, but as the race progressed, it just got better and better and better. And it just helps us to push and push and push. Obviously, John went out towards the end of the race, but like Simon said, when John's there and he's pushing you, you've just got to keep pushing and keep your concentration. Otherwise, one slight mistake and he's in there.
Now, Simon, with John going out of that race, it does obviously leave things fairly open in the championship so far. What does it mean for you for races to come with you and John, the competition between the pair of you?
To be honest with you, the past 5-6 years, the competition's always been really strong with me and John. And I mean, like last week, 2 weeks ago at Brands Hatch, we had a DNF, and like this weekend here's a DNF. So all that means is we've got to be, you know, for the rest of the series, the rest of the championship, we've got to be consistent and keep going and keep scoring points.
Well, we look forward to it, and to the pair of you, very well done. That was a great effort. Simon, Paul, we'll let you go to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There we go then, that's our Swan Combi F2 Challenge Sidecar winners, Simon Neary and Paul Napton, and taking us through their podium is Jack.
So 3rd place for Stephen Kershaw, Robin Wilson, riding number 29 all the way from Scotland, 23-year-old Joyner, the driver, a 42-year-old engineer in the passenger seat, if you could call it a seat. And 2nd place, runner-ups then for the veteran number 4 combination of Roy Hanks and Dave Wells. And the winners, Simon Neary and Paul Napton, 2nd last year, British F2 champions in 2007. They've now got themselves properly established in the championship table. And who better to present the trophies than the brilliant John McGuinness, the first man to lap the Isle of Man TT circuit at 130 miles per hour, rides for Padgett's Honda, and was proudly wielding his 5-week-old new baby daughter yesterday. Holds her in one meaty hand and swings her about above his head. He said she doesn't mind. If she cried, he'd think she was getting upset, but she's perfectly happy with it. He presents the trophies then, McGuinness, to Simon Neary and Paul Napton. Their great rivals John Holden and Andy Winkle broke the 13-year-old lap record here today with their lap of 1 minute 23.464. But congratulations to their great rivals Simon Neary and Paul Napton. They win the 2nd F2 Swan Combi sidecar race here at Thruxton today.